Tszyu, mate, a few hours from the win today, man. What's the past few hours? What have you been up to, and how do you look back on the performance tonight?
Yeah, we just got back. We watched the tape on the TV. So yeah, it was interesting, man. Mixture of different things. But the guy was tough. I hit him with a couple shots. I don't know how he stood up, and the mid pressure that I had on him was sort of landing. He was sometimes coming back with a fair few, but to a certain extent, he just started just moving around and sort of just trying to stay in there rather than trying to win the fight. I felt like that's what it was. But you could see with his mentality, he wasn't giving up. He was always there. He was there to fight. He was there to try to win to a certain extent. But he's in his heart, he wanted to stay up no matter what, which was quite interesting for me.
Was that what you expected in there? You said in the ring that you wanted to get him out of there.
Yeah.
Was he tougher than you thought? And
Yeah.
did he make you think in there, particularly early in the fight?
To a certain extent, nothing really came out too crazy. It was more. I thought he was tougher than what I thought. Just because I don't think he's ever experienced like that high level boxing, so I didn't know how he was going to react. But he was one of those guys that he was going to die on his shield. He was going to stay there and punch on no matter what. So I think I give a lot of respect to that.
You got that head clash there in round 4, man. What was going through your mind? No flashbacks to the first Fondora fight?
No, luckily not, man. Luckily not. I think it was different this time around. It was a bit more painful because it wasn't just like just a cut, but it went straight through. The Fondora one was just like an elbow, but this one, yeah, if you can see my eye, it's sort of nearly shut. It's blue, and the impact was quite hard. So I think that's why it was a little bit painful.
You dropped him there as well in the early rounds. You thought you could have got him out of there at some stage?
Yeah, it was like 45 seconds to go, but he somehow survived. And then round 6, I got him again. He had like 5 seconds. He still survived. I don't know, man. I don't know. I need a sledgehammer to hit the guy.
What was Pedro saying in between rounds?
Mixing it up, go with a certain technique, use the different angles. We sort of were working on a certain thing about a different style and movement and stuff like that. But once I started feeling him just going back, I was like, that's it, man. I'm gonna press him like I always do.
How do you feel? I mean, second fight with Pedro. What do you think you've improved on? Is Pedro happy with the performance tonight as well?
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I haven't spoken to him post fight, but I'm sure he is. I think there was a lot of hard work. It was a couple months in the gym together, so a lot of things that we worked on sometimes don't work, sometimes they do work, but we're still working. Boxing, all these little things, it takes time to rebuild. So yeah, that's what it's about.
Now, I don't know how much you read, social media and stuff, but there's comments out there that you should have got the knockout. You needed the statement. How do you react to that sort of talk?
Yeah, look, that's everyone's gonna say something. If you knock someone out too early, they're gonna talk about that. If you don't do it, then they're gonna talk about that. People are always gonna have something to say. In terms of the performance, I felt like I won every round. I sort of didn't get touched up too much, unless I got unlike this thing. But yeah, we're on the road to a bigger and possibly one of the biggest fights in Australian boxing history.
That talk about Errol Spence for the past few weeks, man. How'd you block that out? Were you able to block it out? Were you thinking about that fight at all this week?
Yeah, to a certain extent, yeah, it was. Yeah, it's a bit hard not to.
Everyone's asking you.
Not just everyone's asking me, but you still need to plan it out. Even in this camp, I was sort of sparring southpaws as well. Like as much as I respected Nurja and what he was going to bring, like I still needed to. It was still coming into my head that I was fighting a southpaw, So it was distracting, but I did try and block it out. I did the best I possibly could.
Mate, Spence's reaction, he put out that tweet. You mentioned it at the press conference, but a few hours later, how do you respond to his tweet?
What did he say again? I didn't really understand what
He said, I forget exactly, but he said something like, you think you're the man, but I'll show you how it's done, or something along those lines.
Oh, man, look, I can't wait to get it on with him, honestly. He hasn't fought in a long time, and I do want to expose that, What did he say?
Yeah, he said, you think shit sweet, do you so bad?
Oh, man, he's got no idea. He's got no idea. He's going to be in for a hard fight, because a style like me, it always presents challenges to a lot of people.
He's only ever fought at 147, Spence. Coming up to that extra weight, what should he expect in the ring with Tszyu?
Yeah, just harder punches, different gloves. It was an 8-ounce. It's not 8-ounce gloves anymore. It's up to 10-ounce. And just a different feeling, coming off a 3-year layoff. I'm a bad guy to choose off the first go.
He called you trash at one point as well.
Yeah, he also lost money from me as well. So it's just typical, man.
Obviously, he's only ever lost to Crawford, one of the pound for pound best ever. But watching that fight between Spence and Crawford, what do you see in that fight that you can exploit? What?
Well, look, stylistically, it's two different fighters. Crawford's technical genius, so it's hard to compare what me and Crawford like against Spence would do, but it'd be just I think me and Spence would be more of an entertaining fight, like we've both got that style that's pleasing for the crowd to watch. So yeah, it'd be a cracking matchup. Stylistically, I feel like it's a real crowd pleaser. So yeah, I just got to bring a few good tactics into this fight, and it will be good.
What about the eye, man? Does that push things back at all? No. You said it was a scratch, but it's quite swollen.
Yeah, this is what will be a week to just recover. Yeah. I'll put some ice on it. I've already iced it for a bit, so I'll put a bit more, and I'll be all right.
When did you first hear about this Spence fight? Has it been on the ball for a while? And why take the fight today, like with so much at risk?
Yeah, good question. I found out straight after the Velasquez fight. Yeah, but I was told that it was in the No, I wasn't told, but they told me that it was notified before the Velasquez fight. So look, I don't like until it's a done deal. I don't like to talk, and I don't think it's a done deal yet. Like, of course, I think everyone's. I don't know what's going on. I'll be honest. Like, I think possibly everyone's agreed and stuff like that, but I don't think it's a done deal yet. Yeah. I think there's still a few things to be made. It doesn't just happen like that, There's governments involved, and either if it's going to be in the US or if it's going to be in Australia, and it's super fight,
Would you want that here, or do you want to, right some wrongs in the US?
Look, I've got a bit of both. The fact that if I can bring something like this to Australia, what an amazing thing for Australian boxing, for the undercard fighters, for all the crowd watching. It's such a big thing. It's such a great thing. But also, I don't mind traveling to America and doing it there, because I've had bad in the past, but I want to correct that.
Yeah. I asked you this earlier this week as well, that, without a belt, that these guys still want to fight Tszyu.
Yeah.
How does that sit?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Good feeling knowing that there are possible fights out there. without belt recognition. But we still, for me, one of my goals is to still aim for the belts. Even though I've competed a couple times for the belt, my aim is still to get back.
Well, there's Xander's eyes and boots, and there was talk you could go to number one in the rankings after today. Fight Spence, and then perhaps later this year, who knows? You could be fighting for the belts again.
Who knows, man? Who knows? There's plenty of possibilities. And the interesting thing is, there's going to be fighters from 147 moving up to 154. So, look, I'd entertain all that type of stuff. We're talking about the Ryan Garcias and the Devin Haney's and all these guys. The division's packed from up to down, from 154, 160 to 147. There's a lot of names, and everything's shifting. Boxing that isn't just like back in the days used to be Floyd Mayweather, yeah. But boxing's always shifting, you know. And right now it's an interesting time to be alive for myself.
Yeah. Watching Keith Thurman on the weekend and the Fondora fight, how did you feel watching that?
I felt a bit bad for Keith. I found it was a hard fight for him. He couldn't do anything as much as he wanted to. I know that the ref stopped it earlier, but he was getting belted. He was getting beaten up. He couldn't do anything, and I don't think it was the age and inactivity. It was just Fondora was just that much more awkward than him, you know, and he couldn't do anything.
But do you feel like there were so many people that wrote you off after that second Fondora? People saying you should retire.
Yeah.
You know, looking back, you probably given him his best fights or his hardest fights, did he?
Of course, yeah. I think Fondora said it himself. You know, like me and him, we went to war both times. Even though the last time he beat me and he was hitting me with good shots, I was still coming back. His nose was busted and all of that stuff. So it was a good cracking fight. Stylistically, he's just a hard fighter.
Yeah. So, any message to Errol Spence? Because that's a fight everyone wants. I saw Ring Magazine put that out on Instagram. That's a fight people want. Any direct message to Errol?
Yeah, just the time is ticking. Father time is slowly coming for him. Retirement is coming up. And what a pleasure for me to be able to be the man to be able to do that.
Mate, a couple of weeks rest, overseas trip. What's the next month look like for Tim?
Oh man, I'm chilling. I've been away for like 6 months, so I want to be home for a bit, man. This couch I love, and I got my dog there, and I just want to lie down with my dog and watch my TV.
When you go to Miami, do you miss home? How do you deal with that?
Oh, it's tough, man. But yeah, you just push through. But it's definitely tough. Yeah. I'm a home guy. I don't really like to go out too much and go out to different places for long. So being at home is nice for me. Yeah.
So no regrets. Good decision to change things up and head over there.
You gotta shoot for the stars, and sometimes that makes hard decisions, you know. And I've always been about going for the hardest things possible.
Legend, mate. Appreciate your time, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks.